Hello, everybody. We are returning to the program of Space Habitat event. Today is November 8th of 2023. We have a great pleasure to receive Professor Bernard Foing. He will be talking about Space for All, highlights from EuroMoonMars, research, training, astronautics, habitats, inspiration, and business. A little bit about the curriculum of Professor Bernard Foing. He's the president of Space Renaissance International, executive director of ILEWG, EuroMoonMars, EuroMoonMars, manager, professor of VU Amsterdam, Leiden Observatory, ISU, and EPFL, and also working the CNRS and former ESA chief scientist and chair of Aztec Staff Association Committee. Okay. Also leading many programs. Just a moment to let some people come. Yes. Also chair of IAF, International Space Station, ITACUS, member of IAF Committee, and other integrated societies as TAC, GLEX, IPC, and exploring, also present in committees like space exploration, astronomy, space habitats, traffic management, full member of IAA, International Academy of Astronautics since 2010, vice chair of COSPAR Planetary Exploration Panel, also co-director of IMA, International Moon Base Alliance, founder of Moon Village Association, and also AGU Space Instrumentation Officer, president of Moon Gallery Foundation, working in ESA, and as a STEC staff, senior scientist. It's a long curriculum and just some topics about the actions, a great curriculum of Professor Bernard Foing, and worked in many countries as ESA director. Okay, Bernard, you are very welcome to collaborate with Space Habitat event. This is our fourth edition. I hope that thanks so much about the partnership with SRI and the support, your support, and the support of Adriano and Celia and our friends. You are welcome to share the achievements about EuroMoonMars.
Thank you very much, Giulio. Thanks very much for organizing this event, which is very worldwide. Actually, it's covering many continents. We have South America with you. I am currently in North America. I did some work trip to Washington, D.C. at the Space Policy Institute in George Washington University and worked some colleagues. And currently, I am in Pasadena. That's a place where we have the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. So I'm going to visit some colleagues tomorrow. We have also some colleagues from the Space Foundation, a large organization that is organizing events every April in Colorado Springs. So we have a great community here and some good for business. Thanks for reminding some of my itinerary, or we would say my planetary trajectory. I did a number of flyby and rendezvous of different objects, the moon, Mars, the space station. I was involved in the various missions. But now all this is converging under an umbrella, Space for All, and building on some initiatives that have been started with a number of colleagues, in particular here at Space Renaissance International. We had our ambassador of Space for All, Adriano Otino, with us, our founder of Space Renaissance. And I would like to then, on the focus of this Space Habitat Conference, to show also what we can do hands-on and with our art and our body in preparing for civilian development in space, but not forgetting that all of this has to benefit humanity as a whole, even over the Earth and other species. So I would like to give us some, so welcome to everybody, wherever you are on this planet or beyond. And I would like to share a presentation on some of the highlights of some activities that we have conducted in the frame of various initiatives. So it's, so let's see now, can I should put it in presentation mode. Is it good? Do you hear me from the moon? Yes. And so let's proceed. Thank you. Yes, so Space for All on Earth and Beyond. And here I will focus on some activities which are linked with a number of programs that we have conducted in research and capacity building. So EuroMoonMars was a program that we have started with the International Lunar Exploration Working Group. So it's a group, a committee of COSPA, but this EuroMoonMars program then was started like 15 years ago with the support of the European Space Agency, but also NASA supported it with the various centers involved, like NASA Ames Research Center, Jet Propulsion Lab, Kennedy, Houston. And we had also a number of universities that contributed to this program, which was directed to research analyzing data from our ongoing lunar and planetary mission, but also preparing instruments and testing them in the field. Then we have, within this, developed a program where we have trained some analog astronauts in environment on Earth that look like the Moon and Mars. So we went to Etna volcano, we went to Utah, we went to Hawaii, we went to Iceland, we went to even to Atacama Desert in South America. But also we started testing some of those instruments in some of our technical center at ESTEC, and we got also we built some landers, rovers, and instruments to prepare for future exploration. More recently, we have embarked on a new dimension. So this is when I joined Space Renaissance International, so 2 years ago, and where we had a very successful congress, where we have a plan of actions which was approved, and I was elected also the president of Space Renaissance. I see how my role is to help to implement this top 10 action plan that we have decided 2 years ago. And also 2 years ago, I left the European Space Agency, and we have started some platform, a consortium of 4 universities and 2 NGOs, including Lunar Explorers that I lead. And this has been receiving funding from the European Commission to train space researchers, entrepreneurs, and astronauts. And from this, we have got some support, but also we could integrate it in a platform where we are going to train the next space generation. So I would like to share some of this new aspect as well. And so Giulio has mentioned some of my past planetary itinerary. Where I've been working at the European Space Agency, I was the lead of the first mission to the Moon, Smart 1, but also I worked on mission to Mars, Space Station, and astronomy. So here is some example of hands-on campaign where we built some instrument and we test them, for instance, in the Etna, on the Etna volcano that look very similar to the Moon. So some of important milestones for our activities, and a pillar of activities is to work on data from either mission, because I was there, but now from all space missions from all over the globe. And in particular, so I was the scientific director of the first mission to the Moon of ESA, called the Smart 1, Small Mission for Advanced Research in Technology, that took some 3 years to develop. So it was the fastest development ever. So it was also learning to do things in a more business and effective way. And then we launched 20 years ago in September 2023. You see, we should celebrate. So I agreed to organize now a 20 years party where I could invite you and celebrate. I still have a few bottles of champagne that we produced for the launch 20 years ago. So let's drink a few of those. And so we launched in 2003, and then we went with solitary propulsion to the moon. It was a mission to develop new technology. But when we arrived there, we also were able to discover the polar region of the moon. In particular, we made some maps of the lunar South Pole that will help us to go to the next step. That will be to put some landers, a robotic village, a human outpost, and then a moon village. And here, these are some images we collected from our Smart One mission. We found also some places which are in permanent shadow there. And later, with some international other mission, we have found the proof that there is water ice in this dark area. About, I could estimate about 14,000 square kilometers of area, always in the dark. And then we could find also near the Shackleton crater, and which is the South Pole, we found some area which are peaks that are high enough that they see almost always sunlight. So we call them peak of eternal light. Actually, this was predicted quite some time ago. Even the French popular astronomer, Camille Flammarion, in the 19th century, suggested the presence of this pic de lumière éternelle that would be present close to the pole of the moon because of the orientation of the axis of rotation of the moon, which is perpendicular to the ecliptic plane of all the planets. And so, a very interesting region. It's a place where we could find volatile ice, but also we could find organics, and there were a number of missions that have studied that after. But more generally, Space for All must include a branch of activities where we allow open access to data from space mission, from Earth mission as well, also the tool to analyze them, and the use of new tools like machine learning, artificial intelligence, to make to take the best profit of this data, even, for instance, for Earth data to develop services, application, and business that will benefit society. So another important resources is to share this data, like we have done with our mission Smart One. You can see we share our data openly with the world, and this helped the next countries to build their own lunar mission. And for instance, the Smart One was launched in 2003, and then for 4 years, we were alone around the moon. But then in 2007, we were joined by 2 new lunar actors. China, you can see, that launched their mission Chang'e 1, and Kaguya from Japan was launched the same month in the September 2007. And Kaguya was a great system of satellites. There were one main satellite and then sub-satellite, and they made a very important discovery about the moon, high resolution images, but also they could do gravity maps of the full moon, even the far side, and they detected some, made some very interesting discoveries. At the same time, Chang'e 1 was the first lunar mission from China, which was developed in a fast time, and they made some very important investment to develop this whole know-how, both to launch a satellite, to reach the moon, to go in orbit around the moon and to get data. And actually, we were at the core of the participation with these countries because we had launched Smart One before. Even before we had, when Smart One was around the moon, we shared, we sent some of our data from the moon to radio telescope in China or in Japan or worldwide, and this helped to validate all the chain of receiving data from the moon from those countries. So clearly, not only sharing data, but also know-how, and this is a very important resources for also peaceful collaboration. So we have established also from that time, almost 28 years ago, a forum that is called the International Lunar Exploration Working Groups, ILWG, or LEWG, that report to the COSPAR Committee for Space Research. And this committee and these members coming from both space agencies, space academia, industry, entrepreneur, also so innovators have worked together to develop the spirit of science. Hello? Yeah, is that anything fine on Earth? You hear me? Okay, I continue. And this was important to develop a spirit of scientific collaboration, exploration, and also peace. And as you know, in these current times, it's very important to maintain all bridges for peace. So working together on joint projects which are going to serve humanity, and also helping the countries to talk to each other. And also developing some very interesting technologies, not only for their military purpose, but using them for civilian and humanitarian purpose. And so that was 2007. We had the launch of Kaguya and Chang'e-1. Also, at that time, India was preparing their first mission to the moon called Chandrayaan-1. That's a mission that actually I was involved in all those missions because I had the kind of lunar torch at ESA, and we were collaborating with those. So I met the different groups, even we got a visit from their ambassadors to get great collaboration with those countries. And for India, for instance, we managed to have an agreement where we put 3 ESA instruments on board of Chandrayaan-1, instruments that were inherited from those that we had developed for Smart 1 or for our mission Bepicolombo to Mercury. And eventually, Chandrayaan-1 had the first really discovery of water ice in the pole of the moon. They had also very interesting descent probes, impact probes, that was suggested by the President of India, Dr. Abdul Kalam, and that was built and also detected the sign of water in the exosphere of the moon. So this was launched in 2008. And then we had 2009, the launch of the L-Cross. So that was an impactor that was together with LRO, the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, that has been put in orbit around the moon at the end of 2009. And it is still in operation now, more than 14 years after. So de facto, we have got a fleet of spacecraft around the moon, and this was followed also by very interesting scientific spacecraft, GRAIL to map the gravity of the moon, LADI to study the exosphere. We had also Chandrayaan-2 that had an orbiter that also continues the work of Chandrayaan-1. And we had another Chang'e-2 mission. So the next pillar of Space for All is to develop the technology for exploring and utilizing space. In particular, so we developed some instrument for future mission. We also, some 13 years ago, there was a competition called Google Lunar X Prize that we gave $20 million to the first commercial company to land on the moon and move. And so we collaborated with some of this company, building a small mock-up lander where we could test how to put cameras, spectrometer, rovers on it, and to use these commercial opportunities for research and exploration. And actually, some of these companies of that time, they have developed their tools to go to the moon, and now they have joined various service, commercial lunar payload service of NASA. We have the company iSpace with whom we work. You can see me here with their Akutu rover in the EuroMoonMars yard at Aztec. And they have continued in, and they have developed a company with several $100 million of capital, and that has sent already quite a large lander to the surface of the moon. So about 28 years ago, all the agencies and stakeholders interested in exploration created the International Lunar Exploration Working Group. That is a working group that reports to COSPAR, the Committee for Space Research, And already there in mid 1995, we put together a roadmap for sustainable exploration of the moon. And we call it the Moon Village Roadmap. First phase where you put orbiters for reconnaissance. So this we have done, as I mentioned, with a large fleet. Then we have precursor landers and rovers that are working in a coordinated way, and we call that a robotic village. Then we will have an outpost where we'll have some humans for short duration, about 1 week, that will live and work on the moon. And then they will be able to extend their stay over 3-6 months, and we will have a rotation of human beings on the surface of the moon. Then we'll have a permanent and sustainable presence of humanity on the surface of the moon. So this is what we call the Moon Village concept. And actually, de facto, this has happened. The robotic village has already started some 10 years ago, and I will show some example with the Chang'e 3 lander, but other landers that are on the moon. And the lunar outpost will see human on the surface of the moon, possibly end of 2025. In various programs, there's a program that is led by the United States called Artemis, and there are a number of collaborators in alliance in this program that have also looked at the legal aspect through Artemis arguments. But there is also an initiative which was developed by China and some collaborators, Russia, but also from the BRICS countries, the so-called International Lunar Research Station. At ESA, we also developed the vision of the Moon Village that would really gather all possible collaborators over the world, but also directed to benefit Earth. So really, it was a kind of precursor concept, space for all, not only for the space expert, but space for all. And so we have tried to look at this logical and roadmap for various activities and to see what we can do to prepare for those. So now we have also in the frame of the International Space Exploration Coordinating Group, there was various space agencies that have looked how to implement some of these recommendations towards global exploration. So with some activities in low Earth orbit, what will happen after the International Space Station? Now we have also the Chinese Chang'e Space Station. We'll have some commercial space stations. There are a number of activities around the moon also planned and on the surface of the moon. And there are activities also towards Mars, mostly robotic at this time, mission to search for life, mission to return sample for Mars at the end of this decade, and then possibly some activities for the next decade where you will have humans reaching Mars, maybe in orbit first and then to the surface of Mars. So in this frame of lunar exploration, we have the Artemis program where every year we will have some big launch. So we have started with Artemis 1, which a very large launcher, SLS, that brought a capsule, Orion, together with a service module, a European service module that brings this capsule around the moon in the proper orbit and then provide power and also navigation and return with this capsule and inject it in the proper trajectory to re-enter the Earth. So we have a successful Artemis 1. I went to various launch attempts of Artemis 1, very impressive rocket and also human endeavor. So we have Artemis 1 was without astronaut. It was automatic mode, but we are planning for Artemis 2, where we will have 4 crew astronauts that will go around the moon for about 1 week and will return. And then we will have the Artemis 2 astronauts are already selected, and so they are now currently training, and that could be something for the end of 2024. And then we have Artemis 3, where you'll have again 4 astronauts around the moon, but then 2 of them will descend and put their feet on the moon and will work there. And it's also envisaged that this will be the first woman on the surface of the moon and the first colored American of color. After this regular yearly mission, the idea is to reach a kind of a sustainable base camp where you could have a permanent human and robotic activities on the surface of the moon. And the different module, habitation, laboratories, mobility, energy, water, and so are being developed, suits as well. Interestingly, if you look at what are the sites which are envisaged for landing for the Artemis 3 mission, there are a number of sites which are in the South Polar region, and these are sites actually that we had studied already with our Smart 1 mission 20 years ago. So you can see actually a map, a background map of Smart 1 of the polar region of the moon and the candidate site for Artemis 3. So we had already started to study them, and now there are various groups that look at the merit and the difficulties of going to the various region in terms of scientific appeal, but also facility for landing and for rover mobility. So there are a number of challenges for establishing the moon village. First, you have to go to get there. You get there, these are for the rocket people, and luckily we have got, coming from the commercial and entrepreneurial sector, some visionary, but also executing visionary, like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, that are developing system of rocket to leave the Earth at affordable price, but also in safe condition, but also to reach the moon and to land safely at low speed on the surface of the moon. So get there, okay, for the rocket engineers and experts. There are also challenges to develop habitat with life support system, laboratories for research, to communicate in difficult conditions from the moon to Earth, but also from moon to moon, or operation in extreme environment of the vacuum of the environment, but also in the hard temperature regime, survival of system and of astronauts, mobility also of rovers, but mobility also of pressurized module for astronauts, and a great set of challenge for partnership between human and robot, making use also of some advances in technologies for operation, also including some new artificial intelligence tools to do the work. What is special about the moon as well, compared to empty space, is the fact that you have access to resources on the surface of the moon. So we have solar power in some area. You have water ice that can be exploited as well for life support system, but also you can separate the water into hydrogen and oxygen. Then this becomes a source of power, also a source of fuel, and you could then send rocket from the surface of the moon for 50 times less energy than from Earth. And this could be starting an extended lunar and cislunar economy and going into interplanetary. We could also use some of this rocket and the launch from the moon to contribute to the orbital economy of Earth. For instance, you could send repair system to extend the lifetime of telecom satellite around the Earth. That could be a market of €1 trillion there. But also the novelty for the moon village is that it's not only the business of government agencies, but also there are a number of other stakeholders that can be involved, those that are developing industries that are working on Earth that could adapt to the moon, some terrestrial companies, also new space company, also entrepreneur. And so a lot of benefits can be expected, and you could have a funding that would come 70% from these new users compared to the traditional government stakeholders. So on some of these challenges, within the EuroMoonMars program, we say, okay, what can we do at a really low-cost budget? Let's learn how to work and live on the moon. So we installed a mini outpost for astronauts where we could perform research. Here you can see some equipment where we analyze samples with microscope, with spectrometers. We have also a place where the astronaut can teleoperate some rovers or drone from inside the base, and they don't have to go out if they don't feel like it doing all these EVA protocols. They have some reconnaissance system, and they can teleoperate from the habitat. They have also a 3D printer, so in case you have forgotten something on Earth, so you don't need to wait 5 days that they send you the repair place. You can just print it. And then on the left, you have some laboratory, dark laboratories, and also rest area. So we already started that already about 10 years ago, and we did some simulation at ESTEC itself. And this way we would learn on some of the technical and protocol aspect of operating in a laboratory on the moon. We have access to another habitat. This is managed by the Analog Astronaut Training Center in Poland. It's in Respietnik, midway between Krakow and the Ukrainian border. And there you have a system where you can isolate analog astronauts for 1 week, for instance. So it's a place where they don't have a window, so they don't know if it's day or night outside, and they don't have a watch. So we give them in the middle of the night a signal saying, oh, it's now midnight, if it's not exactly true, absolutely. And this way they have to adapt to a change of rhythm. And you can see they do some, here we are, for example, Capcom discussing with mission control. We had one was developing a virtual reality experiment. Someone is fixing some experiments. They are growing plants. They do various set of investigation, and we have developed a program jointly, EuroMoonMars Poland, or in short, EMPOL, where we have crews, more than 18 crews of 5 to 6 people together. Mostly they are mixed as well, mixed in discipline and mixed in countries and languages. You have some of them doing also some physiology investigation, medical. They do exercise. They have to do 1 hour exercise because on the moon you have to prevent the bone loss and demineralization and muscle atrophy. And also they were creative. They designed a nice hammock, suspended hammock where they could rest and meditate. So we have this EMPOL, and this is open to everybody. So we have a program actually where we organize this crew campaign, but you can also join as individual, 1 or 2 persons, some existing other crew. And we have a program where we can provide some support and co-funding for those that want to do research there, and that will write also some abstract and articles based on the experience there. So now we have wanted also to develop an habitat that goes to your home. So you don't have to travel so far, we come to you. And this is a concept that was developed by our EuroMoonMars group, and I had a master space architecture students. So 2 years ago, she did a 1-year master, and she did a very nice concept. And I thought last year, oh, such a nice work. Let's go beyond the concept. Let's build it. And so we have built this Exospace Lab Express. So this space designer is called Serena Croti, and I hired her to work on this project also as our science communicator. And we designed, based on our joint requirement, a mobile habitat for 4 crew astronauts that could stay 1 week in a place, and it's equipped for doing research. You can see some scientific racks, and it also it has some location for resting or private quarter, and we have also developed an inflatable extension that allows to triple the area, so you can really use it and with a crew of 4 during 1 week. So this was really finished in spring this year, and we started to make it available for various events. Here, for instance, in Padova, in Italy, we installed it in the botanical garden, and we use it also for outreach. We had more than 1,000 visitors, so they went by small group. And you see here with the inflatable structure deployed. We brought it also to another place in Italy where there is a goal to develop a parabolic flight company. And then we brought it to the École Normale Supérieure Paris-Saclay, so one of the most prestigious science technical schools in France. And we were hosted there for 3 weeks during the week of science and space. Now, this habitat is based near ESTEC in the Space Business Innovation Center. And we are now doing some tests, putting some new experiments in terms of energy system, water system, plant growth, life science experiment, and others. And you are all welcome to visit us. We will have a mini simulation on the 12th November where we are going to log some of them in the habitat. And we plan to organize a workshop also mid-December where we would like to invite many of you to come in person and also present your work and see how we can collaborate. So that's a type of habitat which can be close to a technical facility or university where you can develop some of the technology and the know-how. But at some stage, we want also to go to sites that are analogous to the Moon and Mars. And so here you can see some experiments we have conducted at Etna. We did that in collaboration with the German Aerospace Center, DLR, and ESA. And we organized also some small campaign ourselves, but also a huge campaign last year in June 2022 with DLR, where there are 70 professional testing for rovers and drones and various systems, with also some astronauts. We had some campaign we started at Utah Mars Desert Research Station already. So in 2009, we had some expedition there, and it's a place very similar to Mars. It's a kind of a Marte a region for Utah, and it's a great place also for looking at the habitat aspect. And we have done some campaign at Atacama Desert, mostly in the field, and there is not yet an habitat there, but in a field which is similar to the early Mars. We went to Iceland, and we have now a base called ICES that was built some 6 years ago, and that we are operating with the International Moon Base Alliance. So that's a foundation that is based in Hawaii. Hank Rogers, Mr. Tetris, that you know well, is executive director, but I am the director for research. And we are organizing how we use these facilities for research, also in collaboration with other partners. So you are all welcome. And we are calling for people to join there as astronauts or as support team, also with some experiment investigation that can be tested there. So that's our base, ICES. And so currently, it's a base which is mid-level on the way to the top of the Mauna Loa volcano. We have facilities, so a dome, and it's all solar powered, and we have a good autonomy. And we have conducted some campaign there in collaboration with NASA. This was in the 2016-17 timescale, where we had long duration experiment, like 6 months, 12 months isolation for testing what would be the psychology factor in a mission to Mars. Now we have changed a bit the emphasis with shorter missions which are typically 1 week or 2 weeks long. And so we have conducted a number of so-called EuroMoonMars IMA ICES mission or EMIS mission, starting in 2017, 18 until now. And after a little interruption due to COVID and also to a large eruption, we have restarted this in March. So here an example of EVA research that can be performed. These were some students from Amsterdam Free Universities. They were studying the aqueous alteration of samples on Mars, or also lava tube samples which are affected by presence of microbes. So this is what happened in November last year, a giant eruption on Mauna Loa, and then there were 2 lava flows going on each side of our moon base. Luckily, it's high enough that it was not completely flooded with this lava. So it's still in operation. And we went there this spring, February, March. Actually, we went there to do a restart mission, so we call it ANA-HU, which is the Hawaiian for Renaissance. So we do also space renaissance in Hawaii. And our commander was Hank Rogers, was the founder of Tetris, but also International Moon Base, a climate activist. He was there. I was there as chief scientist. We had our chief psychologist, Celia Avila House with us. And we had also our new director of operation, now Catocles, that was joining us, and even Serena Croti, our space architect, was joining us. And so we had quite a great experience there, and we could declare it operational for the next step. And since that time, we can have 2 missions per month, 1 week, one of 1 week and one of 2 weeks. And we have a special deal for researchers that want to contribute to this mission. Typical cost at the moment are about for researchers of $1,000 per week. If you are not a researcher, but you are a wealthy space tourist, you can also join for the price of $10,000 per week. Like if you are ready to pay a few million to go to space, you can invest that to know how is life on the moon. And so we are still looking for researchers to join. So please contact me or Catocles, and there is a nice procedure for you to join. We have also a program of research grants. So the researchers that come and that publish some articles and so on receive after some compensation in form of a research grant. So we said, okay, we travel everywhere. Hawaii is far, but we also travel near. Here, for instance, we try to bring space for all close to the heart of the people. And here we landed our lunar lander in the middle of The Hague, just in front of the town hall of The Hague. So here we have 2 analog astronaut instructors, that's Agata Kolodziejczyk and Matt Aranunsuk. These are good collaborators from Poland. We have also Angelikis, who is also space lunatics. We organize an event in the frame of a 2 desert festival in The Hague. We have also started an activity, Space for All, EuroMoonMars. This started already like 15 years ago, and we had some artists accompanying us for some of our campaigns in the field. Here we organized in 2010 a Moon Life Academy, a 3 months period where we had some space scientists, space engineers, but also architects, artists, designers, fashion people, humanists. And we organized a workshop on an academy on various topics. One was the design of the moon base. One was designing some art payload for going on a lunar lander that we had planned. So that was the start of our EuroMoonMars program and our Moon Gallery initiative. We had also a fashion show, and we even started a moon business. So there was a group that designed a concept store to be installed on the moon. So we opened it for 3 months in the middle of Amsterdam, and we had a concept store with objects that could be in the future sold on the surface of the moon. Another aspect where we try to involve the public is through a collaboration with this project called Global Science Opera. It's a project where you have some 20 classes from high school and over the world that are producing work, an opera work, a TV opera, and every year on a different topic. So 1 year was with CERN on particles, but 1 year was with ESTEC on Moon Village. And so each of these different classes, so we had to play one scene of this opera. So we had a script for the Moon Village story. The script came partly from my story, where I told the kids, you know, in 2040, we will have 100 people on the moon, and there will be the first baby born on the moon. And then the kids said, what, baby on the moon? So let's write a story. What type of school do they go on the moon? And what happens if one of them, one is born on the moon, but want to go back to the Earth? Is it difficult? And so they wrote a story about that. And there were classes from all over the world. There were some from Brazil, actually, that took part. There were some from Chile. There were some from the US, from Europe, from Africa, so it's a worldwide effort. And every year they select a different topic, also linked with space and Earth and ocean. Now about doing something concrete to bring art to space, we started with science that we developed. You know, when you are going to the moon, you will have to know how life can adapt there and how life can survive there. And also what can survive in space. So for this, we had 20 years ago, some attempt where we launched some capsule this is called a photon capsule. So it's a spherical capsule, and you have some experiment inside, pressurized, but also outside. We put a pan that contains a number of samples, and you open this frying pan, and you expose it to UV or radiation. Then you close it, and then you bring back the capsule after 3 weeks, and then we could see that some molecules or some organism can survive in space. So after this, we flew this experiment on the International Space Station, and there it was called Expose. We flew it twice in 2009 for about 1 year and a half, and then Expose R2 also 2 years. And then we have various samples. Some are samples of living samples, seeds, fungi, organics, and we could find, we exposed it outside the International Space Station. And so in 2010, with my colleague from Moon Life Academy, we thought, oh, what could we put on the moon and bring art? And we thought, oh, let's bring a gallery of art to the moon. And I inquired about the prices and say, the company told me, oh, you just need to pay €1 million per kilogram. And then I thought, oh my God, that's quite a lot. So let's use this concept that we had flown to the space station, a tray 10 by 10 centimeter with 10 by 10 samples, where each sample could be a mixture of art and science. And that's how the idea of the Moon Gallery was born. And then we made a call for the broad community to propose, you know, art science artifacts that could be brought to the moon. And we got more than 100 of input about that. And we selected those that could be fit for going in the Moon Gallery. So each of the art piece at the end would be less than 1 cubic centimeter. So you have various ideas there. For instance, you can see on the top left, a gold cube with Galileo. This comes from Padova University. You have some seeds. You have one Hank Rogers proposed to send a human pearl there. Human pearl is a pearl that he created in his own body, in his own kidney, a kidney stone, and he has put some beautiful jewels around. We have one scientist that spent 1 year in Antarctica that proposed to send a sample of the purest air on Earth from Antarctica. We had one colleague send art of friendship, so various ideas. You can look at our website, moongallery.eu. And so within the preparation of this Moon Gallery, we organized a number of events on Earth. You see at ESTEC, in the Space Expo Museum, close to the Apollo module, in The Hague, in Amsterdam, and then we went to the Prague Design Festival, Milano Fashion Festival. In Switzerland, we brought it also under Glacier. We went to Portugal, Moscow, Paris, New York, DC, and eventually we prepared a flight test version that we launched from February 2022 from Wallops Island near Washington, DC. And we had this 6 by 6, 8 by 8, 64 art pieces that were sent to the International Space Station. You can see that real image of this Moon Gallery test flight floating inside the ISS cupola. So we are working now in other EuroMoonMars initiatives. We are also together with the Space Renaissance International. Space Renaissance International has also an art chapter, and under the leadership of Sabine Heinz, also a space artist. We are looking at various opportunities to bring art to space, to the moon, to Mars. There are various initiatives also that we try to support with the Itacus committee of IF on cultural utilization of space. Actually, this is Itacus. So IF already in 2007 created a new committee on cultural utilization of space. It's called Itacus to liaise with some between space and cultural organization to promote and facilitate also the utilization of space for art and society, and also advocating this cultural utilization of space, developing, sponsoring projects by artists together with a space expert going, to as a payload to space and to the moon. So I'm currently the chairman of this committee, which is very diverse geographically, a good balance of gender, and also many disciplines represented. So you are all welcome to join us. And we organize sessions at the International Astronomical Congress every year. And also we have committee meetings end of March in Paris, where next one we plan also to organize some events in collaboration with the Space Renaissance and other space organizations. So join us in our IF committee meetings. Here you can see we organize a panel at International Astronomical Congress. This one in Bremen, you can see the various generation of astronauts of spaceship Earth represented. We even have the latest baby that she is certainly going to walk on the moon, I believe, in the future. Now, in the last 2 years, we got also a way to consolidate some of these initiatives of delivering. We developed some lectures and courses for space science and technology. We had also this astronaut training program that I have illustrated, but we wanted also to develop a full-fledged program that could be directed to all space citizens so we have also tried to consolidate the part on the humanities and social science, not only the human medical aspect that we see for astronauts, but multicultural cooperation, art, design and space, social science. So this we have tried to develop further, but also we have tried to develop the business aspect, the management, the policy, and so on. Also because we got a grant from the European Commission, which was a business innovation grant, so we had to incorporate that. But we saw that it's very important to integrate this pillar together with the science pillar, technical pillar, humanities, and also the analog and real astronaut training program. And so we have now this program where, a la carte, anybody can join this Euro Space Sub Academy. As you know, we have also a Space Renaissance Academy with a series of lectures and some essays and white papers. But also we have here this Euro Space Sub Academy where we train together the space entrepreneurs, the space researchers, and the astronauts. And I think there is a good also synergy between this academy and what the new generation can learn to really get on board as a space generation. So thanks to this European Commission support, EU-EIT, so we have 4 universities, Vilnius International Space University, Complutense Madrid, Kiev University, and also NGO, LUNEX and Colabwis, that have this 2 years program where we have supported some activities, podcasts, contests, events, analog missions, training, and academies. And now we want also to contribute to this large endeavor, which is our action for space for all on Earth and beyond, as a Sustainable Development Goal 18. And that's an activity that where we have been very active in the last year. And I think you have heard some of the presentation by Adriano and other colleagues on this. And we believe also with our action, hands-on in capacity building, in research, we can contribute also to make this space for all even more sustainable development, because we can work at the level of inspiring training the youth and the public, and also training some of the young professionals that will also work on a concrete project that will serve this Sustainable Development Goal Space for All. So as a summary of my long talk, thanks for your patience. We have mentioned that Space for All, in particular from the point of view of exploration, there are various branches of activities that we can invest in. One at the level of data access, data sharing, using of artificial intelligence of the space data, developing some technology of instrument, robotics, life support for future space mission, also learning to better implement projects financially and technically, and so looking at opportunity to fly on ongoing space mission and finding some collaborating stakeholders on that. There are some number of resources that will be exploitable on the moon in particular, so the soil, water, CDK, energy, and so on. We can test some of these concepts in the field, and so like Habitat Marte is doing, or we do that also in Europe, or we do it at ICES, and there's also all the community of space analog that are talking to each other. So in particular, there's a forum, wiki, chasm, so a good effort to learn lessons and to establish a database of what we do. Clearly, important resource that we have is the human creativity resource, the training the next generation. And that's something also where we have got some good support now to use innovation, business, entrepreneurship also as a dimension for training the next generation of space. Always, we have also the duty to use the space as a way to build peace. So we are the ambassador of space peace, and also we have to be very inclusive of other groups, and for this it's very important to address the multicultural aspect, and artists or philosophers can be very important in this, in engaging our own humanity in this space for all on Earth and beyond. And so de facto, as you see, many of these activities can fit well in serving our broad goal of space for all on Earth and beyond. And we have identified a number of collaborators, Space Renaissance, but also other organizations supporting Space for All initiative, but some existing group like EuroMoonMars, we have IF, we have COSPA, we have the United Outer Space Office for that. So this concludes my talk on Space for All with really what we can do from the research side and capacity building side. Thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, Bernard, thanks so much for your presentation. Now we are open to questions from the audience. The audience is welcome to do.
Yeah, you're also welcome to put your cameras, and we can see who is beyond. Yes, excellent.
Say hello to my
question for all of you. Who is willing to join us in our campaign in Hawaii? So it's open, but also we are planning this possible workshop mid-December in near ESTEC in our Business Incubation Center. So it could be an opportunity also to meet you. We may also do a hybrid event, also to Giulio has organized. It looks a very successful way also to reach a good number of motivated participants.
Yes, if you have some members of audience to do some questions about the presentation of Bernard. Congratulations, Bernard. That's very good map that you presented about the research about analogs and the future of space exploration. Very good. I like so much.
Yeah, maybe I can also introduce, because I see in the audience some. I should give credit also to those that have contributed to all this effort. And so, okay, clearly from the Space Renaissance, and we have Adriano, we have Giulio, and we have our board members. from the point of view of the EuroMoonMars analog, I see Celia, she's our space psychologist. We have also, I see also Thomas. Thomas, he has joined us for our Eurospace Hub Ibiza festival, so where we had also, and Thomas is also as a biologist and also a space biologist, also very interested in developing some experience and also more inclusiveness in what we do. And we have Marie, also Marie Kuiper. She has been one of the early participants to our EuroMoonMars campaign. She's an artist that has been curating exhibition for us, and now she has just done one in Amsterdam, and she has flown also some experiment on our ISS Moon Gallery test flight. So I see a number of nice collaborators from our EuroMoonMars and Space Renaissance Galaxy.
So, Bernard, thank you. Thank you very much for your updated presentation and of all our cultural variety. I'm always very, very excited and interested when I see the different groups and projects, etc., etc. And okay, I have to leave now, but before leaving, I would like to reiterate the invitation to join the Coalition for 18 SDGs, Space for All on Earth and Beyond. I've put the link in the chat where everybody can join. I put it again, just in case, as an individual or as an organization. So if some of us here are running an organization, a project, a company, or whatever entity, you can join the coalition with your organization. There are already 67 organizations in the coalition, and we are targeting 70, of course. And yeah, everybody will be very, very welcome to join. So thank you, Giulio, also for organizing this conference. And yeah, I think we maybe can see each other in the next days because it is going on up to the 11th, right? Correct? 11th of November. Yeah, okay. So thanks everybody, and ad astra.
Okay. So, parabéns. Muito obrigado.
Okay, Bernard, let's bring the a crew of EuroMoonMars to Habitat Marte in Brazil.
Yes.
And play Garota
What is
de
the time
Ipanema.
scale for that? What is a practical time scale for that, you think?
We can adjust our time, our schedule according to the availability of EuroMoonMars. Maybe a good thing would be during the winter in Europe. Here will be a very nice weather.
Like we did last year, we went to Hawaii, but there could be a possibility at least to have a few members, maybe one or two, already in February time scale that could join there, and then we could prepare a bigger campaign a bit later. Yeah.
Yeah, would be nice. Yes.
Excellent. Huh?
Yeah, I'd like to say hello to Michael. Michael Lore is here. Hello, Michael. Michael will be. It's a scheduled presentation from Michael, but it's not now. It will be. Let us see. Will be 8:30 p.m. UTC. In this case, 5:30. Will be in three hours from now, I believe.
Oh.
No. Sorry. 5:30 in 2 hours half to be started. Okay.
And Paulzinho, you had a question, Paul? Yeah.
Yes. Well, I'm an anesthesiologist, and all the presentation with the habitat here and there, describing experiments, describing oxygen, describing very little I heard about medicine in space.
Yeah, so
it's my baby.
Very good.
Because it's not only about those explorers, but it's also about space tourists. And you send people, all the physiological changes, etc., etc. Very little is spoken, very little is known unless you are moving around in a circle of the med doctors and speaking, do alike, think alike. I have developed and patented an airway device. It can be used on Earth as well. It will be used in airway management in space. I'm now in the seed phase. Once it's patented already. Once it will be ready, I'll do a zero G experimental flight, just to. I know it works. Don't ask me why, but I know it works. Yes, and about those colonies that you showed on Mars, on the Moon, on Mars, with all those component cylinders, space, laboratory. I didn't see the medical bay. What should comprise a medical bay? What instruments? What facilities? How the doctor? I know that because I read about it, but they should be brought somehow forward for the layperson, for the chemist, for the biologist, for the engineer, for the psychologist. They have to somehow be brought together a little bit to, just for the people, for the audience to understand that it's not separate, but part of it.
Yeah, you are completely right. And I think that I should mention that every time we do this analog campaign, we have one person that's a health officer or sometimes a medic that is really looking after the suspect. And you mentioned a medical experiment because we are conducting physiology. We monitor also stress, metabolism, all this. But we have also to have a kind of good strategy and protocol for handling all medical situation with a remote support from an expert medical doctor, but also some local knowledge. And so if you want, for instance, and I've mentioned we have investigation, very often investigation we conduct are partly proposed by experts from outside. And so our astronauts, they can conduct medical investigation for you, like our astronauts on space station are doing. If you are interested to propose an investigation, you can suggest it. If you would want also to test some of your device, that could be a possibility also to have you or one of your colleagues joining our campaign.
I tested it already on a dummy, of course, and it works. I know it works because I have 20 years of experience behind me.
Yeah.
The issue is that these medical issues should be somehow brought. And also, there are very big difference between the medicine on Earth and the medicine in space. Even after 72 hours, everything changes. So you have complete other things going on.
Yeah. But I would say it's important to reemphasize that. So in the way I presented also this new pillar, there is in all pillar, physical and mental training, we need medicine. In the science, we need medical science. In human factors also, we need to address this aspect.
One more question, and then I have to go. Sorry. Your email address, NL Netherlands, is the correct one?
So yeah, the best address, the one I look at every day, is in Leiden. So I write it in a chat.
I saw an address Leiden.nl in the first slide.
It's leidenuniv.nl. But I have also a Moonbase Alliance email. So yes, but yeah, the one I read every day or every time, that's every hour, let's say, is this one.
I photographed Foing at strw.leidenuniv.nl.
That's exactly that. I also put that in the chat now.
Okay. Alors, décidez, il faut que je file. Bonne nuit. Thank
Okay,
you very much. I need to go.
Boa noite.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Thanks so much. I conclude the recording.